verses 1 through 10. We're going to read the first two verses, and so we can all see the same information.
Yes, sir.
And the text says, "Now a man of the house of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child or a good child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch.
Well,
Then she placed the child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile.
well,
His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her slave to get it. She opened it up and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse and baby it for you?"
well,
"Yes, go," she answered. And the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him from water." So based on those few verses this morning, I want to share a lesson called, or share some ideas based on the subject, Incubate Your Baby.
well.
Incubate your baby.
Come on now.
The Franco-German War of 1870, it resulted in 200,000 deaths, over 200,000 wounded,
Well,
and nearly 500,000 people that was missing, captured, made slaves, became indentured servants. As a result of any type of war, any type of conflict, it's going to negatively impact the environment, right?
well,
And so at this time, the German population had a shortage of people, economic was impacted, families was disrupted, the entire flow of that population was trying to put itself together. And of course, we've seen that so in our environment. When there's war, when there's conflict, you're trying to put yourself back together. And so this was the case of Germany back in 1870.
yeah.
Interestingly, around 1870, there was this pediatrician, Dr. Mark A. Cooney. He was born about this time, and as a result, he was aware of this environment. He was aware of the destruction. He was aware of the conflict, and like anybody, what happens in your environment or the social context is going to affect you.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Dr. Cooney was a pediatrician, and he was a specialist in neonatology. What is neonatology? People who have a specialty of babies who were born premature, who were born like with an illness. Now, what's interesting is, of course, again, so he's born in this time, the environment is crazy, there's war, people are trying to put themselves back together.
Well,
but what's interesting is, as we look at history, people start to respond when things hit home. When it's very personal, right? It's one thing when it's environmental, it's social, it's my neighbor.
Come on.
I see it, I'm impacted, I really care about it, but when it's inside your home, the message is more, of course, impactful.
Yes.
Plato once said that necessity is the mother of invention. What does that mean? You create something, you get very inventive when there's tragedy, when there's trauma, when I need to create something.
Yeah.
So what was the personal trauma or the personal tragedy that hit Dr. Martin Cooney? His daughter was born premature.
Well,
okay, and premature babies is a very serious thing.
Yeah.
Did you not know that in 1925, 30% of all deaths of baby resulted from prematurity?
My Lord,
it's a very, of course, like serious things. Now, what are the complications from babies who are born premature? Well, they have immature lungs.
Come on.
Why is that important? Well, if you can't breathe, if you can't exhale and inhale, you're not going to be very healthy. So this is very serious.
Yeah.
Also, you have difficulty regulating body temperature. That means if external elements, the weather or bugs get hold to you, guess what? You're not going to do well because you were born premature.
Come on.
And so all of these things were surrounding this doctor who was a pediatrician,
Yes.
but more closely, his daughter was born premature. Consequently, he's trying to figure these things out. Also, like, what are some more things that are associated with babies who are born premature? We're poor feeding. Well, guess what? If I can't take in food, guess what? I'm not going to live. I'm not going to be healthy.
No.
And this is what this doctor was dealing with. And also, prematurity correlates to slow weight gain and even death, okay? And so this doctor, he was faced with all of this. The good thing about it is, based on his research, based on his skill level, what did he do? He created the modern day incubator, right?
Come on now.
Consequently, his daughter lived, and then also he went around the cities and the towns in the U.S. and carnivals and etc. And he helps families to preserve the life of their baby. So what does incubate mean? It means to maintain. Think of it this way. We see mammals that fly, right?
Yeah.
We see birds. They lay eggs, okay? But what do these mammals do? They go sit on the egg. Why is that? There is something about sitting on that egg and creating the right conditions for that fragile life to be able to have life. That's very important.
Yeah.
What does incubate mean? It means to develop, all right?
Yeah.
Also, this word is, so incubation church audience, it's a mechanism that creates favorable conditions that gives way to the preservation of life.
Yeah.
This morning we're talking about incubating your baby. So incubation is a mechanism that creates favorable conditions concerning life that's fragile. And so this talk asserts, so that's one level of analysis, but on a different level of analysis, this talk this morning asserts that if you want to give birth, or if you desire to give birth to your dreams and your desires, you must create the proper conditions, thereby your highest dreams may manifest. Are we on the same page this morning? Let me say that like once again. And so this morning, like what we're talking about is that if you desire to give birth, if you desire to make come to life, if you desire to preserve the things that you care about the most, what we want to talk about this morning is that you must create the conditions, thereby your highest values may manifest or come to life. Incubate your baby. Let's revisit verse 1 again. So like the great question is that I will ask, or hopefully that like you're asking, okay, I heard that you say that incubation means to develop, it means to maintain, but so how do I do that? And I think that's a great question because as me and my dad were talking about like this morning, there's one thing to give people information, but then it's another thing to give people things that they can use. I'm only interested in giving people information that they can use. Because if you're not giving me information that I can use, why even do it in the first place, okay? So a question to ask is, well, how to incubate your baby. Let's revisit verse 1. It says, now a man of the tribe of Levite married a Levite woman. Verse 2, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child or a good child, she hid him for 3 months. There's a few things that's very interesting in those two verses. And so part 1, or thought 1, how to incubate your baby. First is you must believe in your baby. Now, if you notice like verse 1 and 2.
Hello, somebody.
The belief is not explicit, but it's implicit, okay? How is it implicit? Based on the actions of Moses' parents. So very interestingly, good there. Good means bountiful, prosperous. It means well-favored, well-healthy. And so this baby was pleasant. It was beautiful. It was healthy. It was vibrant. It had the opportunity to live. And then, of course, as we look in verse 2, it says that the parents of Moses hid their baby, okay? Hid means to cover over or to treasure. Is there anything that you've ever treasured this morning, guys? What do? You protect it. You're careful with it. You don't let anybody mess with it. It's kind of like, back Back in the old days when families got, good furniture, they would keep the plastic on it. And
Boy, shut up, boy. Shut up.
What are they doing? They preserving that which they care for. And so in verse 2, our text tells us that Moses' family hid him for 3 months. Well, I got some questions I'd like to ask. Question number 1 is, why is a healthy child being concealed?
Come on.
You have your baby. You see people facing their, taking pictures of that baby, put it on social media. You see families taking their babies out. Why? Because they're proud of it. It's healthy. They want to expose it. But what I thought was very interesting, why would a healthy baby be concealed? That's one question.
Well,
secondly is, what type of parents would not allow their children to be exposed?
Come on.
What type of parents would keep their children in the house? I think those are very reasonable questions to answer. Well, we got the answer. If you look at chapter 1 of Exodus, chapter 1 verse 16 gives us that answer. It says that if you see a baby that is a boy, kill him, but if it is a girl, let him live. The reason why Moses' parents kept them in the house because there was an edict. What is an edict? It's the law. It's legislation. What was the legislation? Murder all male children. Think about that. Think about that. Now, let me give you some information. As far as this document that we have, it's probably written down about 3,000 years old. But these stories are very, very, very old. And when I read this, quite honestly, I hadn't read this in a long time. But when I read this, it kind of popped out. Because the edict or the law of the land at that time was to murder all of the male children. Wow. I say, wow, that's very interesting. There's this book called The Boy Crisis, where our boys are struggling and what we can do about it by Dr. Warren Farrell. If you're alive, you can't help but to notice the headlines. What are some of the headlines that we're seeing? Toxic masculinity.
Well,
the male patriarchal system. White privilege.
Well,
murder all the male boys.
Well,
boys are being told that you're toxic.
Come on.
You are oppressive. You're responsible for rape culture. Do you hear these ideologies all the time?
Yes.
Murder all the male children. Also, we're hearing these bad doctrines of, there's no difference between boys and girls. Well, that's not true.
Well,
there are many differences between boys and girls. Okay? Our boys, it said murder all the male children.
Come on.
Also, something else that's in our headlines, for the last 20 years, our boys have been served amphetamines.
Well,
what is amphetamines? Ritalin is one example. Why? Because you're too active. You got too much, energy. So now our school system says that we're going to give you some medicine to sit you down so you won't move. Why would you do something that's so idiotic? Okay.
Come on.
And so, the link that I saw, modern day time correlates back to this ancient edict. Kill all the male children. So we're going to give boys amphetamines to sit them down. The point is, boys and girls are different, okay? And so when I saw that, I said, wow, that's interesting. Things really don't change, okay? So now, as we're talking about Dr. Farrell, what he noticed in his book then, and I think this is very important to talk about, because there is a boy crisis. There is a male crisis. Our boys are told that you're not good enough, you rape everybody, you mean, you're an oppressor, you want to be in control. This is bad. Now, why is this important? Dr. Farrell, he noted in his book that worldwide, that boys are 50% likely to meet basic proficiency in math, reading, and science. That's huge.
Yes.
Because if you can't read, if you can't comprehend, if you can't do math, how are you going to function in the world?
Lord have mercy.
Do it. And one of the reasons why, because the educational system, I can say that because I used to work in education. I taught high school for 5 or 6 years, and the lessons and the culture that's set up is set up for girls to succeed, not boys. I can say that because I experienced that. Another thing that Dr. Farrell noted was that is, as boys become men, their suicide rates go from equal to girls to 6 times with that of young women. That's very important.
Lord happens.
And it makes sense. If you tell me from the time I'm 3 or 4 that I'm no good for nothing, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
If you tell me that I'm oppressive, if you tell me that the reason why women are going through the things that they're going through because of me, I'm going to kill myself. I'm not going to be healthy. I'm going to do things. So the link that I'm trying to make like when you have these bad ideologies, they just recycle themselves.
Lord help us.
Last thing, Dr. Farrell noticed that in this boy crisis, he says that boys that grow up with less involved fathers are likely to be on drugs,
Lord help us.
drink, and go to jail.
Lord
Okay,
help us.
so like the point I want to lick here, that's an aside. So like when I saw that, like so when you think of a pharaoh, like you want to think about, some legislative body, president, kill all the male children. I don't want them to live. That's a very bad thing. And so in 2018, we see that correlation there.
Yes.
And so like the question is, how did Moses' mom, seems to be leading this effort, how did she incubate her baby?
Gotcha.
Well, as we look in verses 1 and 2, as I just shared, her actions are not explicit, but it's implicit based on like what she's doing. She believed in her baby.
Yeah.
How do we know that? Because the law went on and says, look, any Egyptian boys that are born, we're going to kill them. And so we know that she believed in her baby. Why? Because of her actions.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. And that is so profound. In the midst of my life on the line, I'm going to do what I believe, okay? And so as we look at the word like belief, like we know that trust comes to mind, and we know that faith comes to mind. But something that lies under that word is attitude.
Yes.
Can you see her attitude?
Yes.
I care about my family.
Yes.
I want to incubate. I want to preserve the things that I love. Therefore, I don't care what the consequences are. I'm going to do what I believe.
Lord help
I
us.
just want to ask you a question this morning. Are you incubating your baby?
Lord help us.
How do you preserve the things that are important to you? What is your attitude like towards those things?
Yeah.
When challenges come, do you just give it away? Or do you sit on it?
Come on now.
And say, I don't care what the external factors are. I don't care like what the laws are. I don't care like what the social norms are. I don't care what my familiar structures say. I'm going to have an attitude of protecting and keeping alive the things that matter most to me.
Yeah.
And this is what we see. And again, this is no strange thing, okay? The edict went out and says that any male children that are born, murder them. And so the first step is to incubating your baby, or to create the conditions where the things that you want can be manifested is you got to have an attitude of belief. Why is that so important? Because if you don't believe it, guess what? It's not going to get done.
Yes.
It's not going to get done, okay? And so like we see that Moses' mom, she acted because like verse 1 and 2 says that she hid. And so her attitude was, my family is very important to me. I'm going to treasure this. I need this. I'm going to hover over. So I'm not really concerned with what the external factors say is. I want to protect my family. And my attitude is by any means necessary. So the first step in incubating like your baby is based on the information like that we have is first that you have to believe. You got to have an attitude of like believe. And everything comes at a cost.
Yes.
Everything comes at a cost. Nothing comes easy. I really don't like, talks and about rights because, what are rights? What are rights? It's about, like responsibility. It's about, being invested that which you care for.
Yes.
And here's the thing I learned about life. Nobody can care about your situation more than you.
Talk.
Yeah. Hello.
Talk.
So it's not about what you're going to do for me. It starts with what you're going to do like for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Moses' mom, she's understanding this. She's not looking at human resources. She's not looking at, Texas Department of Human Services. She's not looking at, like the bodies of her time, come save me. First, I got to start with you. Now, I'm not saying that help is not important, but you can't start with, be more invested in my situation more than me. So, point number one is you have to incubate your baby, and it starts with belief.
Yes.
So, how to incubate your baby. Now, the second point that I want to make is, first you got to believe in your baby, and then according to verse 3 is, you got to have a basket.
Well.
You got to have a basket. Look at verse 3. It says, but when she could hide him no longer, rather, she got a bulrush or a paperless basket.
Like that.
Now, a bulrush or paperless basket was a common reed that grew up in Egypt. It's kind of like grass and weeds that you go, okay? So So what she did was, and what's so interesting about this, by the way that the text is going,
Explain it.
because she was under time constraints,
Yes.
she used the resources that she had in
Yeah,
her,
I like that.
of course, in her presence,
Yeah.
to use what she had to get where like she was trying to go. So she went outside, she got some reeds, she made this box basket out of some plants, and she put her baby in there. And then, according to verse 3, it says that she put them by the flags of the bank. So what is that telling us? Okay, what's that telling us? Point one is, after you believe in your baby, after you have like the proper attitude, you got to start where you are.
Well,
You got to start where you are. And I love her actions. You know what? These people are walking by my house. Again, there's an edict. These babies are actively being searched for. My baby's 3 months old. I can't hide him no longer. What am I going to do? So what did she do? She didn't complain. She didn't fuss.
Yeah.
She didn't say like, woe is me. She used the resources that was at her disposal, right, to incubate her baby, to protect like what she treasured. So she went outside, she got some reeds, and I don't know, she crocheted or winged it together, and she made this box basket, and she threw it by the bank of the river.
Come on.
What's interesting is based on her ingenuity, it says that she was trying to keep her baby safe while simultaneously make him visible.
Yeah.
Check this out. So he's by the bank. So like you got your reeds. She made this box basket, and so she couched him inside the reeds.
Yes.
Weeds, what do you want to call it? But simultaneously, she put him at the edge of the bank. They're very interesting. So like what she did was she out of the resources that she had, she dealt with the known and the unknown. That's very important. Did you not know that the right side of your brain deals like with the known? Meaning, if you walk across the street and the car's coming, or if a bird fly by, like your body's not going to react that much because it deals like with the known, right? Habits that you do, you get up, you tie your shoes, you move. There's little circuitry. Consequently, the left hemisphere of your brain deals with the unknown. Now, like, what's the benefits? If we stay in the known too long, it's stasis. You're not going to grow.
Help us.
Things stay the same.
Yes.
That's
it.
I was this way in 1984. It's 2018, and I haven't grown much because I stayed the same. Now, the left side of the brain, if there's too much unknown, it becomes overwhelming, right?
Talk.
So based on the text is, like we see that Moses' mom put him in the reeds. That's known because like we've seen it before. Right. But I'm going to push them at the edge of the bank. That's the unknown. So like the point is, in life, as you're trying to orient yourself, as you're trying to incubate your baby, the proper place is to be like with the known and the unknown. Yeah. You just got to try. Like you got to get creative. But what I love is, when she was under time constraints, she used what she had. Now, like the question that I want to ask you this morning, are you using what you have?
Well.
Because it's not good enough to say, I don't have, or I wish I had, or if I was in this position, I would do that. Based on this text, like we're saying is that the proper mode of behavior, wherever you are in life, if you want to preserve, if you want to manifest your dreams, if you want to become what you want to become, if you want your family to be in a certain spot, guess what? You got to use what you got.
Yes.
Because guess what? People don't want to hear complaining anyway.
Talk.
They got their own problems.
Yes.
Right? And complaining, too much is what? Like it's negative. Like for an example, and I've experienced this. And so I grew up playing basketball. It was fun. But I never considered it, as working out because of just playing like basketball. A few years ago, I got interested in going to the gym. Okay, so about like a year ago, I was at my best physique. I mean, I'm not too bad now. I'm okay, but I was at my best physique. No. Here's my point. Because I had a system that was work. So I had my nutrition. I had like my schedule. I was able to document everything I was doing. It's what I wanted. Okay? But as you know, life happens, right?
Talk.
All of that got interrupted.
Talk.
Made me upset. The things that I wanted, the structure that I had, what I created, I've lost gains. My nutrition not right. It's not familiar. I'm upset. And I'll be honest. it made me upset, like to the point where I quit working out because the resources that I was used to, I didn't have anymore. But then, like, I thought to myself, well, that's not the proper attitude like to have.
Talk.
You know, to sit on the sideline and do nothing, what is that going to solve? You're still going to be in the same place. The problem hadn't gone away. So what I did was I readjusted. I got some resources to use like to the best of my ability, and I'm using those things now. What am I saying? I am trying to do like what she did. She took that basket and just threw it by the bank. She put her actions in motion, and she's going to see what's happening.
Yeah.
And so to incubate your baby, like you got to move. You can't just let it sit there. The text encourage you like this morning to take your basket, take what you got, start where you are, and just push it along.
Come on.
Because doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
So how to incubate your baby. And so the text shares with us, first you must believe in your baby. Secondly is it talks about pushing your basket to the edge where it's uncomfortable, it's not familiar. But just like one last point, did you not know this morning that those areas that are uncomfortable new is like where you really grow?
Yes, sir.
That's when you really grow.
Yes.
That's when you really go. Because if you stay over here like what's known, like it's easy.
It's easy.
It's like if I can play basketball and I play somebody whose skills not better than mine, I'm not getting better.
Yes.
Right? If you're good at chess and you play somebody who's not good than you at chess, are you really that
all.
good? No. Your skills really show up when you face a great challenge, okay? And so like that's very important. Point 3 is, according to verse 6 and 7 is how to incubate your baby. So like once you believe in your baby, that is, have the proper attitude. Once you throw that baby by the brink of the water, guess what? I got some good news. There are going to be some benefits.
Yes, sir.
Check out verse 6 and 7. It says, she opened it up and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him.
Yes.
This is one of the Hebrew babies, she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, I like this. This is beautiful. Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby?
I like that.
Shall I go get one?
Yeah.
Well, look at the game plan. Look what they did.
Yeah.
Hey, Miriam, because that's Moses' sister, we're going to throw this baby out there, but I need you to go and be in position to make sure that our plan is going further along. Can you see that? But now, I got some questions like to ask. According, like to verse 4, it says that Miriam stopped at a distance. Well, I got a question to ask. Is like my question is, or like I'm wondering, what this tells me is that they wasn't sure if the plan was going to work. That's what that tells me. I think it's reasonable, like, to make that conclusion. Yeah. Verse 4 says in chapter 2 that she stopped and stood at a distance. Did they know it was going to work?
Yeah,
did they know? They just took a guess. They tried. Okay. Then also, like in verse 5 is, how did they know somebody was going to show up?
Well,
because you really don't know.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't take like for granted that they knew. And secondly, how did they know that Pharaoh's daughter was going to show up? Or, and if there was the place where she publicly bathed, how did she know that she was going to bathe that day at that spot? Okay, so like it's all chances, like it's all operating on the edges, but you got to operate on the edges. But like, what are the benefits? Check out verse 9. It says, Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you. So the woman took the baby and nursed him. What did that tell us this morning?
Come on.
This tells me that incubating your baby or acting out your highest dreams and values will attract people to assist you.
Yeah.
Yes. Isn't that great news?
That's good news.
Think about it. When you're incubating like your baby, when you're acting out, when you're moving, when you're aware of the circumstances, but you're trying to constrain all your resources and your mind, your effort, and your belief, and you're trying to do the right thing, guess what's going to happen? You're going to attract people who are going to want to participate in what you're trying to accomplish. That's very great news to me. Have you ever just casually had a conversation like with somebody and y'all just talking and having a good conversation, and you know, conversation is good, and you're talking about this, like you're talking about that, and like this person says, hey, I can refer you to somebody.
Well.
Oh, I got this information. or we're hiring.
Well,
I'm going to help you bypass three or four of the application process, and I'm going to set up a meeting with the person that like you can talk to.
benefits.
What am I saying? There are benefits to incubating your baby, treasuring that which you love, but you got to believe in it.
Yeah.
You got to go out on the edges.
Come
And
on,
just like
come
our
on.
text like showing us, you will meet along the way people who are going to want to participate in what you're doing. Let me ask you a question. How does it make you feel like when people say, you know what, you got a great idea, or like you work hard, or you're honest, or like you're truthful, or you're outstanding, and I want to work with you. Have you ever experienced that before?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great feeling for someone else to value that which you value. It makes you feel good. The serotonin pops up in your mind and body. That's the mood, emotion, okay? And so like we see like in this text, because of the faith and the attitude of these parents, and because their sister helped out, we meet somebody that says like, you know what? I want to help you out.
Amen.
I want to participate. Now, also, like I want to share is, there's a universal law that says that you get what you focus on.
Well.
Or whatever you focus on expands.
Mm.
Okay, so like what is that showing us here? We can tell that Moses' mom and his parents, they were thinking, all right? They were thinking hard. How do we keep our family together? How do we incubate our baby? How do we preserve this? I don't want my baby to die. Yes, these people are walking around our home and they got their gun. They're going to kill my son. And so what we can see based on the action is that she got what she was focused on. Okay? The thing that she was focused on has expanded. How has it expanded? Because she met somebody who was willing to participate in her dreams. Consequently, what she wants is going to be preserved. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything in your life this morning, church, that's worth keeping alive?
Yes, it is.
Is there? Think about your life. And this is not for me. I want you to self-reflect. Is there anything in your life that you've been thinking about for years?
Yes.
Something that you've been trying to get off the ground?
Talk.
All right. Is there anything in your life that you say, you know what? This makes me happy. This is valuable. I want to do this.
Yes.
You know, I want to expand this. Is there anything this morning that's important to you? Okay?
Yes.
And if it is, I'm hoping that there's something about this text that can be a benefit. Okay?
I love it.
Yes, life is hard. Yes, life is tragic. Yes, life is suffering, but I submit to you, and I'm talking to me simultaneously, to sit on the sidelines and say, you know what? I'm just throwing in the towel. I'm not going to do anything. That's not very useful.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
So our text like is showing us, even when the outside world is crazy, is trying to attack you, the proper mode of being is to act. And the last thing about it is, Pharaoh's daughter said, I'm going to pay you.
Well,
Get out of here.
How beautiful it is to get paid for doing something that you want to do anyway.
I love it. I love
How
it.
much effort does that take? Think about the plan. And Miriam, like right there, like she said, hey, I know somebody who can nurse him for you. And Pharaoh's daughter said, I'll pay you.
Well.
Think about that.
I love it.
So I hope that this is very encouraging.
Yes,
okay.
it is.
Again, in our world right now, everybody talk, well, not left. I mean, not everybody. Let me be fairly clear. The left should talk about rights.
That's it.
Just talk about rights. But what people don't realize, your rights is my responsibility.
Hello.
And nobody can be more invested in your life more than you.
Yes.
You can talk to me, Brother Randy. You can say, hey, Don, you need to get yourself back together. These are the benefits. You're having a hard time. And
So you do it.
but if I don't care about it, it's not going to be help.
Talk.
Right? And so like our text is showing us, first and foremost, Moses' mom and parents are showing us that, the proper mode of thinking is you got to have the right attitude. You got to believe in it.
Yeah, Lord.
You got to be invested. And then, secondly is, get creative. Because sometimes we all don't have the right resources and the tools that we want to kind of go forward. But it still doesn't mean that don't act. It means use what you have until you can get where you want to go. And thirdly is there's some benefits. Because you're going to meet people who are going to want to participate in you. They say, I believe in you. I see something in you. And I want to help you out. But prior to that comes that you got to act, right? Okay. And so that's our talk for this morning.
Enjoy.
And hopefully something was said that could, be a benefit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take my seat.
Amen.